Good evening and thank you for joining us. A fire broke out in an East End apartment complex early this morning, leading to an effort lasting hours to douse the flames. It happened on McLaughlin Street, and thankfully there were no injuries reported. The building, which a nearby resident said was recently purchased with a plan to renovate, appears to be a total loss. The roof had collapsed, and there was significant water damage throughout as a result of the effort to fight the fire. A total of 7 pumpers, an aerial ladder, and a command vehicle responded to the incident. Thunder Bay Fire Prevention is currently investigating the cause of the blaze. Local union workers, families, and community members gathered at Current River Park today to acknowledge the contributions unions have made for its workers. The annual Labor Day picnic highlights the achievements and challenges of the last year. Jessica Clement has a story.
Thunder Bay's Labor Day picnic is an annual tradition that brings union workers and the community together and gives them the opportunity to celebrate achievements that have been made over the past year. Hundreds came out to show their support and celebrated with food, bouncy castles, and pony rides. Picnic goers were also able to enjoy a live performance by local musician Rodney Brown.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.
Thunder Bay and District Labor Council President Carlos Santander Maturana says along with celebrating accomplishments, the picnic is also a time for labor workers to reflect on this year's challenges, adding that this year's picnic focuses on post-pandemic economic recovery.
In the last number of months, we have seen many unions who are going on a strike trying to get a fair deal because of the huge inflation that is affecting our members. And that is an issue that we need to talk. We need to share information. We need to share strategies in order to face off on a very unfriendly provincial government.
The Labor Day picnic sees hundreds of people each year, and Santander Maturana says it's invigorating seeing all the community support.
For me, as a president and for the member of the council and the delegate, this is quite invigorating. Many people who are attending the picnic are not even union members, but they are part of the working poor, and they are coming here to enjoy the last wines of the summer. They are coming here in order to enjoy the activities that we are paying for the kids, and it's all about developing a sense of community.
Jessica Clement, TVT News.
Ontario's Housing Minister Steve Clark has stepped down from cabinet. It comes just days after Clark rejected opposition calls for him to resign amidst a report that found he violated the Integrity Act in the government's controversial Greenbelt land swap. The Integrity Commission found Clark failed to oversee the land selection process, resulting in certain developers' interests being furthered improperly. Clark announced his resignation this morning in a letter, saying, quote, "I realize my presence will only cause further distraction from the important work that needs to be done, and that I need to take accountability for what has transpired." Last week, local Progressive Conservative MPP Kevin Holland said he supported Premier Ford's decision to not remove Clark from cabinet. The Choose Life Gala was held last week at the Nor'Wester Hotel in support of mental health for youth in Anishinaabe-Aski Nation communities. One of these special guests was Mike Downey, the brother of Canadian music icon Gord Downey, who worked with his late brother on the Secret Path initiative for Indigenous youth. Joe Sadowski has a story.
Gord helped create 14 Tragically Hip records, 7 solo records in his career. Nothing meant more to him than Secret Path.
The last album ever put out by Canadian legend Gord Downey was a solo album called The Secret Path, about a story of a young Anishinaabe boy, Cheney Wenjack, who fled from a residential school in Kenora in 1966 and tried to walk back to his father at the Martin Falls Reserve over 400 miles away. 1 week later, Cheney's body was found with nothing but a glass jar in his pocket with 7 matches inside.
Telling the story of Cheney Wenjack was telling the story of residential schools. So telling the story of one boy is telling the story of 150,000 children.
After the album and documentary's release in his final year before he died, Gord Downey was adamant about calling to build a better Canada, to bring more awareness, understanding, and to create a path toward reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. Gord's brother, Mike Downey, was in attendance for the Choose Life Gala, which supports mental and emotional support for First Nation youth that are suffering from mental health issues to help prevent suicides. Deputy Grand Chief of Nishnawbe-Aska Nation, Bobby Narcisse, says there's still work to be done to support First Nation students that have to leave their communities to go to schools in cities like Thunder Bay.
Really educating everybody in terms of what happened during residential schools, but also what could we do forward? How could we ensure that this never really happens again? To ensure that there is programs, there is supports for youth, children, youth, and families who have to leave their First Nation communities to attend school.
Joe Sadowski, TBT News.
Students from Fort William First Nation will be looking sharp as they head back to class this week. The kids recently headed to the New Wave School of Hair Design for a free back-to-school haircut. Lee Noonan has the story.
A couple dozen youth from Fort William First Nation took advantage of this year's free haircut day at the New Wave School of Hair Design. The event is open to students from kindergarten through grade 12, and the school's co-owner, Cosimo Manella, says he loves having the kids in the salon.
Oh, they love it. They enjoy it, because they want the new experience to get the haircuts there. Makes me feel great, and they're so happy too.
Manella says the event is also a chance for the New Wave students to hone their skills.
Oh, it feels great to give back to the community. I love having the kids come in. Feels good to see them leave and get ready to know they're going to be fresh for school.
Whether they're getting a whole new do or just a trim, the kids agreed that it'll be good to start out the school year looking and feeling their best.
How important do you think it is to have a nice fresh cut of hair for the first day of school?
Not too important, but it's good to look good.
I feel like confidence is really important, especially in high school, because high school's hard and it's nice to look good.
It's gonna be nice for me to have a new haircut at school.
Manella started running back-to-school haircut days back in 2018 and says he's not planning to stop anytime soon. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Thunder Bay City Council will receive a report on September 11th regarding a controversial plan to eliminate 31 of the 39 outdoor boarded rinks around the city. Such a move would save around $365,000 annually. But the user group which would be most affected, youth hockey players, are expressing outrage at the idea. Jonathan Wilson reports.
I think it's ridiculous. It helps people get out in the community, and it's just an awesome time.
These minor hockey players offered some strong opinions at this summer hockey practice at Fort William First Nation Arena. Although kids this age don't usually pay attention to the local news, they've all heard about the city proposal to eliminate 80% of the city's outdoor rinks, which the kids refer to as the ODRs.
I think it's kind of dumb, in my opinion. I use the outdoor rinks quite a bit with my friends, just don't have anything to do in the winter.
So what was your reaction when you heard that news?
Wasn't very happy because it takes up a lot of time in my winter, so I have a lot of empty time on my hands now.
I don't think it's a very bright idea. Honestly, I think most of the rinks in town are being used a lot. They're packed lots of the time. I think that they're occupied. I don't think there's a good reason to shut them down.
I think they should keep it. I don't really like it like that. I just think keep them open and stuff, yeah.
These players have indoor practices and games all winter, but say they still flock to the outdoor rinks at least a few times a week to hone their skills and have fun playing pickup hockey with their friends. And they're firmly opposed to the idea of losing 31 of the 39 ODRs around the city.
Terrible idea. You close down a bunch, it'll be like 30 people at a time. I think it's a joke. Absolute joke.
It is not a good idea. All these kids want to enjoy their winter break on the outdoor rinks and have fun. I don't think it's a good idea.
What's your reaction when you heard that?
It's like, oh wow, like why? Ruin all these kids' fun in the winter.
Emmett, what was your reaction when you heard the city wants to shut down 31 outdoor rinks?
Not good.
Why?
Because I love hockey, and I just want to go to the outdoor rinks and play.
There's also been a lot of opposition posted on social media regarding the potential closure of most of the boarded rinks. The move would save the city over $350,000 per year if it's approved as is. The city launched a public survey on the issue, which closed on August 27th. Council will be presented with a report outlining the results at their next meeting on September 11th. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
And finally, Heimer's Fall Fair wrapped up today. The two-day event has been celebrating the area's agricultural roots for 111 years, and organizers expected upwards of a few thousand people to walk the fairgrounds this year. We asked some of the attendees what they loved most about the country fair.
I like the vendors because I like seeing what they sell, and you know, they have stuff from different cultures, so I get to learn about different cultures and everything. And all in all, it's just very good.
It's got good vendors, good music, and a chance for people to kind of show off some of their arts and crafts and animals and food that they grow up here.
The country feel, it's all local people to Thunder Bay or the rural area who are putting this together. I mean, how many volunteers are here?
I just like the fair, like the atmosphere, the vendors, the horse shows, the cow shows, petting the pigs, and really, you know, it's when I first learned how big a pig really gets. And everybody thinks they're little tiny things, but they're not. You know, there's the music, food. Like I said, you know, you meet so many people out here that you know.
Just a fantastic annual event. We're now joined by sports anchor Mike Lang. Mike, we're not far off the SIJHL season, but for fans that are maybe itching to see some walleye action, they had the Telco Cup yesterday.
Well, the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, plenty of action at Norwest Arena. But first, something kind of funny happened. I think you stole my jacket again.
Am I wearing your jacket right now?
I think you're wearing my jacket again.
It fits like a glove.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm wearing your jacket.
Are you wearing my jacket?
Yeah, because remember a couple of months ago, you accidentally stole my jacket, right? Well,
I think this is, I've been wearing this on television all the time.
I think that's my jacket. Anyway, we'll clear it up after the break.
We'll figure that out after the break.
We'll have sports, of course, the walleye, and more coming right up.
Welcome back. Now, after closer inspection over the commercial break, we have confirmed this is, in fact, Mike's jacket.
And this is, in fact, Vassie's jacket, yes.
Exactly. So that's all settled. We're okay.
Yeah,
we're friends
even,
again.
yes.
We're friends again, but we're not here to talk about who stole whose jacket, because it was me. We're here to talk about the Walleye.
Yes, of course. Sunday afternoon, the Walleye, they continued their preseason and their 3-game Teleco Cup series against the Hearst Lumberjacks. The Fish, they won Friday's opener, but dropped Game 2 Saturday night. So they were looking to finish the weekend with a victory in Sunday's rubber match. Here's Joe Sadowski with the highlights.
The Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League won the Teleco Cup last season, and the Walleye are fighting to bring it back to the Superior North against the Hearst Lumberjacks in the series finale. In the opening period, the Lumberjacks are on the attack, cycling it around the Fish zone. Maddock Newton drops it for Tyler Patterson, who shovels it in front for Newton, who jams that into the back of the cage after a couple whacks. That gives Hearst the early 1-0 lead. Still in the first period, the Lumberjacks flying up the neutral zone on the counterattack. Liam Boswell, he chips it around Bryden Bell. Boswell finds Como. Christ, the save, but Damien Bourdon Lemoyne was on the doorstep to put the Lumberjacks up by 2. And in the dying seconds of the second period, Hearst with a 3-0 lead, with the Fish trying to get one back.
30 seconds to go in the period. Swooping in front, Doucette, they score! The goose egg is broken by Kobe Braham. It's a 3-1 game.
Kobe Braham tallies his first goal of the preseason and gives the Walleye some life heading into the second. But after a few penalties to start the third, the Walleye find themselves short-handed. A quick point shot goes right off the boards and takes a perfect bounce in front of Christ. Tyler Patterson cleans up the loose puck to give the Lumberjacks a 4-1 lead. But don't go anywhere. The Fish are on the attack. That shot on the right side goes off the pad and bounces perfectly to Carter Pottenby, and the Thunder Bay native gives the Walleye some life, making it 4-2. But that would be as close as they got. Hearst adds one more to capture the Teleco Cup and brings it back to the NOJHL for the second straight year, 5-2 the final. The Walleye continue their preseason this week with a battle of Highway 1117 this weekend. Joe Sadowski, TBT Sports.
That was also Dougal's own Kevin Jeffrey on the call. And now Labor Day weekend is always special in Canadian football because it's their annual Labor Day Classic, with the league's biggest rivalries matching up against each other year after year. And after the Saskatchewan Roughriders beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in overtime last night, Monday's afternoon matchup featured the QEW rivalry in Hamilton between the Ticats and Toronto Argonauts.
Argos in business now, leading by 3. And their first big chance to get into the end zone is Kelly out of shotgun. Andrew Harris, indeed a touchdown for the Toronto Argonauts.
Andrew Harris punches it in to put the Argos up by 10 in the first quarter. And on the ensuing Ticats possession, rookie Taylor Powell throws right, but gets picked off by Jamal Peters. Powell playing in his 11th career CFL game, but throws his 4th interception. And the Argos take advantage immediately because on the next play, Chad Kelly rolls right and looks deep for Davaris Daniels. And Daniels hauls it in for the 31-yard score. Kelly, his 17th touchdown pass of the year. That puts the Argos up by 17. And the Argos, they're up 31-13 in the second half. The CFL's Labor Day Classic wraps up with this evening with the Battle of Alberta between the Elks and Stampeders in Calgary. Kickoff is at 7 Eastern. Now, in other CFL news, the league has suspended Rough Riders defensive lineman Pete Robertson 1 game for headbutting Bombers quarterback Zach Collaros on Sunday. The incident occurred late in the fourth quarter with the Bombers threatening in the red zone. Robertson batted down a pass from Collaros and then headbutted the Bombers quarterback to the turf. Initially, there was no penalty called, but a late flag was thrown, and Robertson was assessed a 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness. Collaros, he returned after sitting out 3 plays. The Bombers, they scored shortly after the penalty, but lost by 2 in overtime. And in baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays have a great chance to gain some ground in the American League wildcard race as they open a 3-game set in Oakland against the Athletics. Of course, the A's, they're one of the worst teams in baseball.
He is hitting it well. This one driven into right field for a 2-out base hit off of the bat of Springer. 1 run is in from third. That's Varsho, and headed to second base with a double is George Springer.
Springer's RBI double gave the Jays a 2-0 lead in the fifth. Kevin Biggio goes to opposite field. That cashes in Springer from second to make it 3-0 Jays. And now in typical Jays fashion, the Jays have blown that 3-0 lead. They're tied at 3, about to start the 9th. And in tennis, round of 16 action continued at the U.S. Open, where men's top seed Carlos Alcaraz was in action Monday afternoon against Matteo Arnaldi.
Did you see what I just saw? That was out of this world.
Alcaraz took the first set 6-3. Second set, Alcaraz up 2-0. And Alcaraz again with a perfectly placed slice. He would go on to take the second set also by a score of 6-3. Third set, Arnaldi actually up now 2-1. But Alcaraz, watch this again with the soft underhand, flipping it high up in the air. Arnaldi gets to it, but Alcaraz is going to finish the point on the one-handed slam. Alcaraz looking to defend his title at last year's U.S. Open. He advances to the quarterfinals with a 6-3, 6-3, 6-4 victory. Now the upset of the day, we go to the women's side, third-ranked Jessica Pegula facing 17th-ranked Madison Keys. First set, Keys ahead, Pegula with the well-placed backhand, but Keys gets to it, and she finishes the two-handed forehand slam as Keys takes the first set 6-1. Pegula, she won the Canadian Open a month ago, of course, and now in the second set, Keys leading 4-3. Pegula with another quick backhand, but Keys once again with the powerful forehand. She works her way to match point. Pegula serving, but Keys with match point is going to break Pegula. And Keys, she's going to advance to the quarterfinal at the U.S. Open for the first time in her career as she wins in straight sets 6-1, 6-3. Now, Vasi, it is Labor Day Monday, which also means that we are less than 1 week away from NFL season kicking off.
3 days from the opener
yes,
now.
Thursday
Lions,
night, of course.
Chiefs. I cannot wait for that. I think a lot of people talking the Lions up. We're going to see what they're really made of as they take on the best
Tough
team
opening
in football.
matchup, though, of course.
No doubt. Obviously, we had some great Labor Day weekend football here in Canada. Weather's been great throughout the weekend. That's going to continue tomorrow. Later in the week, things are going to start feeling more like we're getting into fall. We're going to have a full forecast after the break. Welcome back. Like we were saying, it's been great weather throughout the long weekend. Same today.
Really
That's
hot,
it's very hot. Anyone who watched the weekend show saw me and Joe were complaining a little bit about the heat, but we're going to be complaining about the winter as well. It's going to be the same thing. It is going to get a little chillier throughout the week. We're going to start off in the region, though. Overnight drops down to 16 in Red Lake. The northwestern portion of the region is the only one getting too much rain there. Clear in Fort Francis, mostly with a drop to 16. Low of 19 in Greenstone, mostly clear there as well. Mostly clear in Sault Ste. Marie with a low of 16. Now, if you look, that rain is sticking around tomorrow in Red Lake with a high of 17. It's easing down to Fort Francis as well, where it's probably going to get a thunderstorm as well with a high of 27. Now, things are looking beautiful over in Greenstone tomorrow afternoon. Mostly clear with a high of 31. Even warmer in Sault Ste. Marie, high of 32, but they're going to be getting some rain there as well. Now, right now in Thunder Bay, it's a beautiful partly sunny and 22. Looking at that overnight drop, though, it's going to be mostly clear, mild, a low of 17, wind, not too much of a factor. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we hit 30 once again, as we did many times throughout the weekend. High of 30 on Tuesday, mostly sunny, warmer, dropping down to 16. But Wednesday, we should be getting a thunderstorm, a high of 17 there, showers throughout the day, low of 10 overnight. Off to Thursday, the rain's going to ease off, but it's still going to be pretty cloudy throughout the day. High of 18 on Thursday. A drop all the way down to 6 overnight there. Now, things are looking a little better heading into our weekend. Friday, plenty of sun there. High of 20, drop to 9 overnight. Off to Saturday to start your weekend. Things are looking pretty good there. It's going to be mostly sunny and pleasant. Apparently, that's beautiful to hear. High of 22, dropping down to 11.
So, Vasi, I think it's now time for us to give each other our jackets back.
I feel kind of bad about it. He was very rude about it in the commercial breaks. You didn't see it, but he was giving it to me pretty bad.
I mean, to be fair, like, it's happened before because it's such a similar color. Like, look, it's like
really.
a very, it's a dark blue and black, right? But
it's the same.
But that being said, like, you're taller, but I have a wider upper body, so I could definitely feel myself bulging out.
Here's what happens. You're down there putting together your sports show. I come up here to do my little reporter throw for the lead story. By the time I get back down, you don't even know it's gone. I think we can just keep this going. What's the big deal?
But,
what's mine is yours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as long as as long as we're we're wearing each other's jackets. So, like, we made it through.
We'll switch back though. We'll switch back for the late.
Yes.
There we go.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, that's all the time we have this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.